Welcome, people, and thank you for tuning in. This is the Sports Underground Podcast with Baron Graft.
The revolution will not be televised, not be televised.
And look who's coming up.
Do you know how I get up for my game? Do you know?
I have wrestled with an alligator. I done tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning, throw thunder in jail.
That's a winner!
And now, from Hotbox Studios in Burbank, California, which is literally an 8x10 box in Baron's garage, your host, Baron Graft.
Hey, what's up, folks? It's Baron Graft. It's the Sports Underground, episode number 47. Just a program note, you can now find the Sports Underground on YouTube. Our channel there is called the thesportsUG, so check that out. I'm going to start posting content exclusive to YouTube. I got an extended interview. We're going to play a piece of the interview tonight of the full interview on the YouTube channel, so make sure you check that out. I say it every time, but really tonight is, wall to wall. I got no time. I just got to jump in because this is just, it's crazy the amount of stuff to get to tonight. I got the NFL, I got college football, I got your questions. I got an interview with a guy that's phenomenal, Eric Walker, probably the smartest baseball mind you've never heard of. Great guy. This is episode number 47, the Mel Blount episode of the Sports Underground. Mel Blount, the legendary Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback. He's the guy that really was the first guy really playing true bump and run coverage, crowding the line of scrimmage. That steel curtain defense relied so much on the play of the corners. Mel Blount, just epic, legendary football player. Wore number 47 for the steel curtain back in the 70s. So on the topic of the NFL, oh my gosh, talk about crazy upset weekend in the NFL. The game of the week, going away, not even really a contest. The game of the week is New England and Buffalo. And going into this, I said this is going to be a measuring stick for Buffalo. They took out the measuring stick in the second half, let me tell you. And they took it to the New England Patriots. You know, New England was up by 3 touchdowns in this deal at the 2-minute warning before halftime. Up 21-0. I learned a lot about this Buffalo Bills team. Now, I don't know how long this is going to go, but it takes an incredible amount of fortitude and mental toughness to come back off of that. New England had won 15 straight games in the matchup between these two teams going into today. So that's just fantastic comeback by Buffalo. You might remember last week they came back against the Raiders, so they're the first team in NFL history to overcome deficits this large in back-to-back weeks. So, big kudos. I did catch one thing. I don't know if you saw this. Towards the end of the game, Tom Brady of the Patriots, he threw 4 picks in this game, and none more costly than at the end. It was a pick 6 that went for what was the go-ahead touchdown that the Patriots came back and tied it up, but the touchdown that was scored on the interception put the Bills ahead. And it looked to me like Brady kind of gave up on the play. Like he just conceded, like, okay, this guy's getting into the end zone. Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy considering the way New England usually plays. But, you know, just a phenomenal game. Great comeback for the Bills. The player of the week, shut the front door, Darren McFadden, D-Mac. What, are you kidding me? The D-Mac attack? Watch out. Watch out if you got to play Oakland. D-Mac went ham on the New York Jets. And I told you to watch this game going into the weekend because I said this is going to be an interesting game to watch. Turns out the Jets really missed Nick Mangold at center. But the story of the game, Darren McFadden had 171 yards, 2 touchdowns, and one just epic 70-yard touchdown run. Really a coffin nail against the Jets, that touchdown run. You know, this season, Darren McFadden is averaging 6.4 yards per carry. Anything over 5 is great. 6.4 is phenomenal. So he's been doing it all year. This is a quiet storm that's been rising. I'm giving him his props tonight. D-Mac, player of the week. Also got to talk about something I said last week. I said that if the Carolina Panthers win any game this season, then I'll give them credit for having won a game they shouldn't have. Well, they won. They beat Jacksonville. So put that feather in your cap. And the crazy thing is, Cam Newton didn't play that great in this game. He didn't really have a phenomenal game. But they did enough to win. Absolute slop fest. It was a downpour. Jacksonville started rookie Blaine Gabbert. He struggled at times. Looked good at times, but struggled at times. So the Panthers come out of that with a win. And, you know, it's interesting. In my region, I actually got the Green Bay and Chicago game. And as I was watching that game, I kept thinking, man, the Bears really miss Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen, longtime tight end for the Chicago Bears. And it looked like they really missed him in that game. They had some drops by their tight ends. And last year, Jay Cutler used Olsen a lot as an outlet valve, as just a safety valve. Whenever he didn't have a play downfield, he'd just dump it to Greg Olsen. And, you know, Greg Olsen went to the Panthers. Greg Olsen scored the only touchdown that Cam Newton threw in that game. He scored the deciding touchdown. So you could almost say that Greg Olsen was the deciding factor in 2 games today, because I think if the Bears have Greg Olsen, I think they look a lot different as an offensive team. He's a great run blocker. The Bears could not run the ball on the Packers. So you could almost say, he's kind of the difference in 2 games. Also caught the Eagles and Giants game. Really did not expect the effort that the Giants brought. Again, Michael Vick struggled in this game. Left the game with a broken hand. It's not his throwing hand, so it doesn't rule him out necessarily, but it's not good. And you may have caught it after the game. Michael Vick was pretty outspoken about what he felt were non-calls on plays in the pocket where he got hit, that he felt he should have gotten a call. I'm going to play the audio of that interview here.
I mean, everybody's seen the game. I'm on the ground constantly, all the time. Every time I throw the ball and all my highlights and just watching film in general, every time I throw the ball, I'm on the ground, getting hit in the head. And, you know, I don't know why I don't get the 15-yard flags like everybody else do. But, hey, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm just making everybody aware of it.
Yeah, so here's the thing on that. Mike, I'm going to go ahead and answer your question that you asked. You asked, you don't know why you don't get the flags. You don't know why you don't get the 15-yard penalty like everybody else does. Well, first of all, you're not the only person that this happens to. As a matter of fact, if you watch a lot of Pittsburgh Steelers football, Ben Roethlisberger doesn't get these calls either. Rarely do you see a flag thrown when Roethlisberger gets knocked down. I mean, last year, the Baltimore Ravens broke Ben Roethlisberger's nose, and no flag was thrown. So, A, you're not the only guy. B, I'll tell you why. And there's a similarity between you and Roethlisberger. Both you guys hold the ball too long. You hold the ball too long. You throw the ball late. The guys are coming. That's what's happening. You dance around, you move around in the pocket. You're very good at that part of it. But when you do that, when you hold the ball that long, you're going to get hit more. That's why you're on the ground. Now, if you think you got hit late in certain circumstances, I saw that play. It looked borderline to me. I mean, in slow-mo, it's easy to say, why didn't the guy stop? Why didn't the guy put on the air brakes like Bugs Bunny did in the cartoons when he just stopped the airplane in midair? You know, but the truth of the matter is it's a full speed game. And there are certain times when you're coming at a full head of steam, there's no way that guy can pull up and not hit him in that situation. So that's my take on that. But I will say this. I do understand why, you know, he's got this me against the world kind of feeling about it. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Terry Bradshaw made some really, really bad comments that are just in poor taste. Terry Bradshaw was talking about Donovan McNabb in the Minnesota Vikings, and Bradshaw's statement on the air was, if he can't play better, I'm paraphrasing a bit, but the meat of the statement was, if he can't play better, they're gonna have to put him down. Really, Terry? Really? Put him down? You mean like a sick animal? Put him down? Wow. Do better, Bradshaw. That's over the line. You got to do better. So moving on to college football, doing NFL and college football in the first half of the show. So some dramatic shifts in the landscape in college football this week. The coaches poll has Oklahoma still at number 1. The AP poll has LSU at number 1. And I mean, it's tough. I see arguments on both sides of this, but I'll tell you what, LSU looked really tough. They looked really tough. They're 4-0. They've beaten 3 teams on the road who were ranked and had pretty decent offenses. I mean, that's crazy. And then you look at Alabama, the other great defense out there. They held Arkansas to 2 touchdowns. Total of 17 rushing yards. Are you kidding me? That's going to be crazy. And they're going to play. That's going to be a game for the ages right there. Clemson put it on Florida State. That was an interesting game to watch. Clemson looks tough in the ACC. It is the ACC, but Georgia Tech looks pretty for real. One of those 2 teams could sneak up and take this thing. So that's great stuff. On the Heisman watch, looking at the Heisman watch, right now my guy's Kellen Moore, and I don't know how you can really argue against this guy. He's the quarterback at Boise State. Now, check this out. He only played through the middle of the third quarter in last week's game. So in 2.5 quarters of play, he's 23 for 39, 279 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's got 995 yards on the season. He's got a 12-2 touchdown to interception ratio. I don't know how you argue against this guy. Another guy we've been talking about, Robert Griffin III, the quarterback at Baylor. Watch out. This dude's got 13 touchdowns on the season. He's only got 12 incompletions. In the weekend game, he threw for 5 touchdowns and 338 yards against Rice. He also ran one in with 51 yards rushing. That's crazy. He hasn't thrown an interception all year long. That's nuts. And our boy Marcus Lattimore out of South Carolina, he ran all over the field against Vandy. He had 77 yards rushing and a touchdown, 73 receiving yards on just 3 catches. And he also got a receiving touchdown there. So that's just crazy. The Heisman watch is bananas right now. Now, next we're going to see some stuff. We're going to see some people that might be able to come out of the woodwork a little bit. Wisconsin's quarterback Russell Wilson, he could pop up. He could start getting his name mentioned in that Heisman talk a little more seriously. University of Michigan quarterback Denard Robinson, they played that game against San Diego State that we talked about in the Big House. And our sleeper pick, Ronnie Hillman, he didn't have a great game against Michigan. So, he's going to fall off a little bit. I still think he's a great running back. I mean, if you look at it, he is their offense. So if you give any good college football program time to game plan against you, they're going to be able to shut down one guy. So San Diego State, Ronnie Hillman, probably not going to get the love, but I'm telling you, this guy's gonna be a name. He's only a sophomore, so he's going to keep climbing. But Denard Robinson had a fantastic game for Michigan, and you remember he was in Heisman talk last year. It might be time to start firing up the old PR machine for Denard Robinson again. And then the quarterback from OSU, Brandon Weeden, they went down there to Texas A&M. That was our game of the week. What a game that was. OSU, they gave it to them. That was good stuff. I don't know if you caught it, but I thought that game was phenomenal. And it definitely lived up to the bill. So that's the weekend wrap-up in college football.